People mocked a poor obese girl badly until the mountain man stands up. The Colorado Territory sun blazed overhead on Market Day in Timber Falls, September 1883. The town square bustled with activity. Farmers selling produce, merchants hawking wares, and families shopping for supplies. For 19-year-old Emma Garrett, it was a day of survival. Emma stood behind a rickety vegetable cart at the far corner of the square, trying to sell the meager produce she'd managed to grow in the tiny plot behind the boarding house where she worked. 3 wilted cabbages, a handful of carrots, and some potatoes with more eyes than flesh. "Fresh vegetables," Emma called out weakly. "Good prices." Most people glanced her way, then quickly looked away. Emma knew what they saw: a fat girl in a patched dress 2 sizes too small, standing beside a cart of pathetic vegetables. Then she heard the voice she'd been dreading. "Well, well, look what we have here." Travis Coleman's voice rang out across the market. He swaggered toward her cart with 3 friends, Kyle, Brett, and Danny, all grinning in anticipation. "Selling vegetables, Emma? Or are these the ones you already ate?" Travis laughed loudly, making sure everyone could hear. Emma kept her eyes down. "Please, I'm just trying to work." "Work? That's generous." Travis picked up a carrot and examined it mockingly. "These vegetables look as pathetic as you do. Who'd buy produce from someone who clearly eats everything in sight?" His friends roared with laughter. People nearby stopped shopping to watch, forming a growing audience. "Please put that back," Emma said quietly. "I need to sell them." "You need to sell?" Travis tossed the carrot onto the ground, grinding it under his boot. "What you need is to stop eating long enough to actually have vegetables left. Tell you what, everyone, I'll pay money to anyone who can guess Emma's weight. I'm thinking 300 pounds minimum." "350!" Kyle shouted. "400!" Brett called out. The crowd laughed, some placing mock bets. Emma felt tears burning behind her eyes. "Actually," Travis continued, emboldened by his audience, "I have a better idea. Emma, why don't you get on this cart and we'll see if it can support you. When it breaks, and it will, we'll all have a good laugh." He reached for Emma's arm, intending to physically pull her onto the cart. "That's enough." The 2 words cut through the laughter like a knife through flesh. Every head turned. A man stood at the edge of the crowd, massive, at least 6.5 feet tall, with shoulders that seemed carved from the mountains themselves. His buckskin clothing marked him as a mountain man, but it was his presence that made people step back. He radiated violence the way a storm cloud radiates electricity. His face was weathered and bearded, his dark hair shoulder-length, and his gray eyes held the kind of coldness that came from surviving things that killed other men. Those eyes were fixed on Travis with an expression that promised pain. "Who the hell are you?" Travis demanded, though his voice wavered slightly. "Caleb Stone, mountain trapper." His voice was deep, rough. "And you're going to take your hands off that woman. Now. This isn't your business. You made it everyone's business when you turned public humiliation into entertainment." Caleb stepped forward, and the crowd parted before him like water. "Now apologize to Miss Garrett and leave." Travis's face flushed red. "Like hell I will. Who do you think you are coming into my town?" "Your town." Caleb's voice dropped to something even more dangerous. "You don't own anything, boy. Especially not the right to torment people weaker than you." "She's just a fat—" Travis never finished the sentence. Caleb moved with shocking speed. His fist connected with Travis's jaw with a sound like a gunshot, sending the younger man sprawling backward into his friends. Before Kyle and Brett could react, Caleb had grabbed them both, one hand on each collar, and slammed them together with bone-jarring force. Danny tried to run, but Caleb's leg shot out, tripping him. The young man crashed face first into the dirt. The entire confrontation took perhaps 5 seconds. When it was over, all 4 of Travis's friends lay groaning on the ground, blood streaming from Travis's split lip and Kyle's broken nose. Caleb stood over them, breathing easily, his fists still clenched. "Get up!" Travis scrambled to his feet, backing away, his earlier bravado completely evaporated. "You're crazy! You just assaulted." "I defended someone from assault. You were about to physically force her onto that cart." Caleb's voice was ice cold. "Now you're going to apologize to Miss Garrett, and then you're going to buy every vegetable on her cart at double price. Or we continue this conversation with more of what just happened." Travis looked around desperately for support, but the crowd had gone completely silent. Even his father, watching from across the square, made no move to intervene. Everyone in Timber Falls had heard of Caleb Stone, the mountain man who'd survived impossible odds and wasn't someone to cross. "I'm sorry," Travis muttered, not meeting Emma's eyes. "I'm sorry for mocking you, Emma Garrett." "Louder, and look at her when you say it." Travis forced himself to look at Emma, his face a mixture of fear and humiliation. "I'm sorry for mocking you and treating you badly. It was wrong. Now buy her vegetables." "How much?" Emma's voice trembled. $2 for everything." $4, Caleb corrected. "Double price," I said. Travis pulled out a $5 gold piece with shaking hands and placed it on the cart. "Keep the change. Take the vegetables, too. I don't want them." "You bought them. You carry them home." Caleb's voice was absolutely merciless. "Pick them up, all of them, and carry them across the square so everyone can see what you paid for." Travis gathered the vegetables awkwardly, his hands shaking, blood still dripping from his lip. His 3 friends slowly got to their feet, helping each other stand. Caleb turned to face the entire crowd, his gray eyes sweeping over every person. "Anyone else want to mock this woman? Anyone else want to make jokes about her appearance? Because I'm happy to continue this education." Complete silence. People found urgent reasons to be elsewhere. "Thought not." Caleb's voice carried contempt. "Cowards. Every single one of you. Standing there watching while someone gets tormented. Some of you laughing. You should all be ashamed." When the square had mostly emptied, Caleb finally turned to Emma. His expression softened completely. "You all right, Miss Garrett?" Emma stared at him, tears streaming down her face, not tears of shame this time, but of relief and gratitude. "Why did you help me?" "Because no one deserves that treatment, and because I know what it's like to be judged unfairly." He pulled out additional coins. "Here, $5 more, for what you just endured." "But I can't." "You can and you will. Consider it payment for the lesson I just gave this town." He paused. "And Miss Garrett? Don't let them convince you you're worthless. You're not. You're just surrounded by people too small-minded to see it." Word of the Market Square fight spread through Timber Falls like wildfire. By evening, everyone knew that Caleb Stone, the legendary mountain man, had beaten Travis Coleman and his friends bloody for mocking Emma Garrett. Reactions were divided. Some people whispered that Caleb had overreacted, that violence was never the answer. Others quietly admitted that Travis had been asking for it for years. But Mrs. Crawford, the boarding house owner, had only one reaction: fury. "Emma, I need to speak with you immediately." Emma set down the dishes she was washing, her stomach knotting with dread. "That scene you caused in the market—" "I didn't cause it. Travis was harassing me and Mr. Stone defended—" "Mr. Stone nearly killed 4 young men. Over you." Mrs. Crawford's voice was shrill. "Do you have any idea what kind of attention this brings to my establishment? People are talking, Emma, about you, about that violent mountain savage, about impropriety. I didn't ask him to help me." But you accepted his money, didn't you? $9, people are saying. What did you do to earn that kind of generosity from a man like him? The implication was clear and disgusting. Emma felt her face burn. He was being kind. That's all. Kind. Right. Mrs. Crawford's smile was cruel. Well, I can't have this kind of scandal associated with my boarding house. I'm letting you go. Effective immediately. Pack your things and be out by tonight. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my concern. Perhaps your mountain man will take you in. The mockery in her voice was cutting. After all, he seems to have taken quite an interest. Emma stumbled to her tiny room, her mind reeling, fired, homeless, with $9 and nowhere to go. She was packing her meager belongings when Caleb appeared in her doorway. Mrs. Crawford said I'd find you here. She also said she fired you. His expression was hard. Because I defended you. Emma nodded, not trusting her voice. Then I'm responsible for your situation, and I'm going to fix it. He stepped into the small room. Come work for me, at my cabin in the mountains. I need help, someone to manage things while I'm trapping, help with preservation, maintenance, cooking. I'll pay you $30 a month plus room and board. You're offering me a job? After you just beat 4 men unconscious? I'm offering you employment where you'll be treated with respect instead of contempt, where your worth is measured by your work, not your appearance. His gray eyes were serious. Separate quarters, your own space, honest work for honest pay, nothing inappropriate. Why would you do this? Because I reminded myself there are decent people worth protecting, and because I'm responsible for you losing your job. He paused. Also, because I know what it's like to be judged unfairly, and I'm done watching it happen without doing something about it. Emma looked at her packed bag, at the future stretching before her, homeless, with $9 and nowhere to go. When do we leave? First light tomorrow. 6 months passed. Emma thrived in the mountains, growing strong and confident under Caleb's patient teaching. The work was brutal but satisfying, and for the first time in her life she felt valued. Then, one afternoon while Caleb was checking trap lines, 5 riders appeared in the valley. Emma was hauling water when she heard horses. She looked up to see rough-looking men, trappers by their clothing, but the dangerous kind. The leader dismounted with a cruel grin. Well, well, heard Caleb Stone had a woman up here. Didn't believe it until now. Emma set down her water buckets, her heart racing. Mr. Stone isn't here. You should leave. Oh, we know he's not here. That's why we came. The man stepped closer, his eyes moving over Emma with open contempt. Wanted to see what kind of woman would live with a savage like Stone. Now I see, the kind nobody else wanted. The fat girl from Timber Falls. His companions laughed. Emma felt old shame rising, but she fought it down. You need to leave, now. Or what? You'll sit on us? More cruel laughter. Tell you what, fat girl, you tell us where Stone keeps his gold, and we'll leave you in one piece. Otherwise, crack! The gunshot was deafening. The leader's hat flew off his head, a bullet hole clean through the crown. Every head whipped around to find Caleb standing 30 yards away, his rifle still smoking, already working the lever to chamber another round. Next one goes through your skull, Caleb said, his voice absolutely flat and emotionless. You've got 5 seconds to get on your horses. You can't shoot all of us, the leader started. Crack. The second shot kicked up dirt 2 inches from the leader's boot. Caleb was already chambering a 3rd round. 3 seconds. The men scrambled for their horses, all pretense of toughness evaporating in the face of Caleb's merciless efficiency. If any of you come within 10 miles of this valley again, Caleb continued, his rifle tracking them as they mounted, I will track you down and kill you. Not wound you, not scare you. Kill you. And I will make it hurt. That's not a threat. That's a promise from someone who's killed grizzlies, mountain lions, and men who are far more dangerous than you'll ever be. He fired a third shot over their heads as they wheeled their horses around. Run! They ran, galloping out of the valley in complete panic. Only after they disappeared did Caleb lower his rifle. He turned to Emma, his expression softening with concern. You hurt? No, they didn't touch me. But Caleb, you could have killed them. Could have, chose not to, this time. His voice was matter of fact. But if they'd laid hands on you, I would have, without hesitation. He walked over to where his warning shot had knocked the leader's hat to the ground, picked it up, and examined the bullet hole. I'm going to hang this on the cabin door, reminder to anyone else who gets ideas. His gray eyes met Emma's. You're under my protection now. That means anyone who threatens you threatens me. And I don't show mercy to threats. Emma stared at this mountain man who'd just fired 3 shots with deadly precision, who'd sent 5 armed men running in terror with nothing but his presence and his rifle. Thank you, she whispered, for protecting me. Always. Caleb's voice was absolutely certain. For as long as you're here, you're safe. I promise you that. That night, as they sat by the fire, Emma finally asked the question that had been burning in her mind. Would you really have killed them, if they'd hurt me? Caleb didn't hesitate. Yes, without a second thought, without remorse. He looked at her directly. I've spent 8 years in these mountains surviving because I don't hesitate when action is needed. Hesitation gets you killed. So when I saw them threatening you, I made a choice. Protect what's mine, or lose it. I chose protection. I'm yours? You're under my protection, which means you're mine to defend, mine to keep safe. He paused. If that's acceptable to you. Emma thought about 6 months of respect, partnership, and genuine care. Thought about Caleb punching Travis and his friends unconscious for mocking her. Thought about him firing warning shots to send 5 armed men fleeing in terror. It's acceptable, she said quietly. More than acceptable. 2 years later, Emma and Caleb returned to Timber Falls. They rode side by side into the town square, the same square where Caleb had beaten Travis Coleman bloody for mocking Emma. Travis was there, older now and visibly diminished. When he saw Caleb, his hand instinctively went to his jaw, where the scar from Caleb's punch was still visible. Mr. Stone, he said quietly. Miss Garrett, welcome back. It's Mrs. Stone now, Emma said, her voice clear and confident. She held up her left hand, showing the simple gold band Caleb had given her. Travis's eyes widened. You married her? I married a woman of exceptional character, capability, and strength, Caleb corrected, his voice carrying that familiar edge of danger. A woman worth 10 of you. A woman who transformed my cabin into a home and my solitary existence into partnership. He stepped closer to Travis, who instinctively backed up. You asked if I married her, like she's still the girl you mocked. She's not. She's a woman who can cure 100 hides, preserve enough food to last a harsh winter, shoot a rifle with accuracy, and manage a trading operation that brings in more money than your father's store. Caleb's gray eyes were merciless. So yes, I married her, because I recognize worth when I see it. Something you never learned. Mrs. Crawford emerged from the boarding house, shock written across her face. Emma? Is it true? You married him? I did, Mrs. Crawford, and I've never been happier. Emma's voice was strong. The life you said I was too worthless for, I'm living it. The respect you said I didn't deserve, I have it. The value you said I lacked, I possess it and always did. You just couldn't see it. She looked around at the assembled crowd. Some of you laughed that day in the market. Some of you mocked me my entire life. I don't need your apologies. But I hope you learn from this. Hope you treat the next Emma Garrett with kindness instead of cruelty. Caleb added, and understand this. Emma is under my permanent protection. Anyone who disrespects her, mocks her, or threatens her in any way will answer to me. And you all saw what happened the last time someone crossed that line. His hand rested casually on his gun, the same gun that had sent 5 armed men fleeing in terror. The message was clear. Mercy had been shown once. It wouldn't be shown again. They bought their supplies and left Timber Falls, returning to their mountain home. As the town disappeared behind them, Emma felt only gratitude. For Caleb's violence that had defended her, for his protection that kept her safe, for his love that valued her completely. The town had mocked her badly, called her worthless, but one mountain man had stood up, with fists, with bullets, with absolute merciless certainty, and said, enough. And in doing so, he'd shown Emma she was worth fighting for.